The term modern steam locomotive that I like to use seems to have caused some major exhilaration among some of you. And while I totally get the ironic nature of that term, which is also one of the reasons I use it in the first place, it seems to be not quite as self-explanatory as I would have thought. So let me quickly explain what I mean when I'm talking about modern steam locomotives. In everyday life, we tend to use modern pretty much synonymously with contemporary. And while in most situations that works, what modern really describes is an opposition to traditional means. For example, if you write a novel right now, it's a contemporary novel. But is it a modernist novel? No, pretty sure it's not. In fact, modernist literature is half a century to a full century old, not contemporary at all. However, it stands in opposition to traditional literature, and that's exactly the same I'm getting at with steam locomotives. And just to make that clear, that is just my usage of that term modern steam locomotive. I'm not saying that this is a clearly defined term, and in fact can be very context specific. With modern steam locomotives, you might talk about heritage new builds, you might talk about post-war locomotives. But for me, the start of the modern railway as a whole is pretty much around the turn of the 20th century. At a time of rapid development, and at a time where locomotives reach a size, loosely speaking, that is pretty much comparable with the locomotives nowadays. But what now makes a modern steam locomotive, opposed to a traditional one? It is a time where steam locomotives start being superheated, are equipped with feed water heaters, and pretty soon after also smoke deflectors. It's a time where the traditional, small boilered, long chimneyed, pretty simple steam locomotives become highly complex and efficient machines. It is no coincidence that around this time, locomotive classes emerged that made it almost until the end of steam. Of course, as usual, there is no clear cutoff date, especially as all of these things were not developed at the same time and not every locomotive was equipped with them. But when, for example, we compare the Prussian S3 with the Prussian P8, which went into production only 2 years after the S3 went out of production, I guess it's easy to see what I'm referring to as a traditional steam locomotive and what as a modern steam locomotive. And yes, I'm fully aware that steam locomotives are not considered contemporary technology anymore. In fact, never were in my lifetime. Oh, and what about a modern paint scheme?